So every year I usually record a reflection, but this is the first time I've done it for an audience. And a big part of the reason why is I want to pass on some learnings from this year, plus also share some news that I probably won't post about otherwise. I kind of really like recording these knowing most people won't see them, and there's something kind of really freeing in that. Now, I will also say these rambles usually go on for a long amount of time, so I've done my best to shorten this down significantly because it is for an audience. And even though no one might see it, I still value your time. So without any further ado, let's get into it. My year changed significantly when I got on iron supplements. It's come to my attention that probably for the last few years, I've been badly iron deficient, and it's been a real struggle. I think every female knows what I'm talking about, but the high levels of brain fog and negativity reached boiling point this year. I had multiple events where my body just ran out of energy and I'd feel nauseous, I'd feel like passing out, and I'd have to spend hours battling not to. And I really felt with all my autoimmune issues, this might have been the onset of like diabetes. And I think that also prevented me from acting sooner. I felt there was bliss in the ignorance. However, when I finally did get that blood test, thankfully those fears weren't realized, but my iron was really low. Straight away I got on iron supplements, and with no exaggeration, it changed everything for me. Straight away I was gifted this clarity and elevation of energy day to day that meant I could show up more consistently and not have to pay as heavily for it. And within that clarity showed me something that I'll talk about more in the next part of this reflection. As my energy climbed, two things happened. The first is I realized how badly I'd been treating myself. Throughout the year, I'd been berating myself for this low performance and constant crashes, but now I could finally see another side of it. One in which my body had actually held up incredibly well, given how bad and low my iron levels were. And the second is I started to experience more anger, which was a little scary at first. In one of my favorite books, Letting Go, David Hawkins explains that while anger is not a desirable state necessarily, it is a higher energy state than both sadness and apathy, which are two states I'd found myself in over the last few years because of these issues. So as we leave 2025, I've made a pact to get more regular blood tests and to take my health more seriously. And I'd also encourage everyone to do the same. You know, as a prototypical male, I feel like I avoid the doctor as much as anyone. And especially after my awful experience with Western medicine when I lost my eyesight, I doubled down on that. However, this year has shown me another side, one in which just pushing through without any help is not only detrimental, but also results in a lot of wasted potential and time. So upon taking iron supplements and finally finding clarity in this muddy brain, I realized something else pretty quickly. It was time to leave video production. Since 9 years old, I've had a video camera in my hand and I just never put it down. Growing up, I also got to witness my dad run a very successful ad agency and spent a lot of time on sets, in studios, and dreaming of everything that I'd one day create. In fact, even this desk behind me was from Method Studios, which was a post house, and has always served as my inspiration to never stop striving. When I went full-time into this in 2021, I found that freelance work came somewhat easily to me. I got to experience all different forms of the industry, from social content, corporate video, event coverage, advertising, and even wedding films with my mate, Ray, under our business, Artflow. And while I loved the people that I met and would not change any of that for the world, plus I'm also really proud of what we're able to accomplish, I never truly loved the work. At the time, I believed it was an issue with control and being a small cog in a large machine. So starting this year, I finally transitioned my thinking. I wanted to own more of that large machine. So I put all my energy into OnCue Media, my production company, and tried to say goodbye to freelance. Early on, we had some really big wins, and I was feeling confident this was finally it. However, as the year progressed, the wheels started to fall off. I hadn't nailed down the core product, and every time I kept trying to run the numbers, I just couldn't see a viable, scalable business for the stuff that I loved to do. It was my friend Louise who asked me at some point, what does success look like in my professional life? And I didn't have an answer for her. I realized I was spinning my tires and potentially even regressing from the inaction. I eventually came to realize that success for me was getting to live my values. It was being of service to others while also having the time and space to do the things I love and make me unique. Whereas I came into this job from a love of filmmaking and a passion for capturing light and color, effectively an art form, not a business. What I realized is that my production company was more self-serving than world-changing. It existed not because we had a solution to anyone's problem, but because I simply loved to create. I also realized that because growing up I got to witness the wild success of my dad's agency, there was also a large aspect of trying to recreate the past, when the present we find ourselves in is vastly different. Those days of charging $100K plus for a medium-sized TVC are long gone. Giving myself permission to let go has been one of the most powerful things I've ever done. It has taken a significant amount of growth and failure to get here, but to finally release myself with this identity is like taking a giant breath of fresh air. And while I now have new issues, namely figuring out where to go next, I'm now on the path to reclaiming this as my creative output and passion once again, plus finding new ways to give back. I recently restarted my YouTube channel, and I've been accepted into the Blackmagic Design Trainers Program to become a qualified instructor of DaVinci Resolve, the editing software I use. My hope here is to keep finding ways to give back to more people, not just a select few corporate clients. So going back to the start of the year, I gave myself 1 year to make on-cue media work. Maybe somewhat fortuitously, I also said my word of the year was failure. But whatever the case, I could not have asked for a better place to end up here in December. A new beginning, a chance to start over, and what is effectively a breaking free of the prison that I made for myself.
This year, I can confidently say I'm the happiest, healthiest, and strongest that I've ever been. What I've learned is that life is constant iteration. It's trying, failing, getting up and trying again, reworking the goals, moving the posts, sitting in sadness, and then opening yourself back up to love. It's taken me 31 years to live my childhood and then heal from it. 31 years to lose my way and realize the dream I was chasing wasn't even mine. 31 years to finally recognize the man in the mirror as someone that I know and trust. None of this comes easily, and it only happens if you keep showing up, putting runs on the board. At the same time, I always judge success by the people around me, the amazing friends and family who inspire me, give me the strength every day to get up and try again. Thank you to those people, especially if you're one of them. Finally, I want to end on some words which I've always wanted to share. During a breakup years ago, I found myself caught in an ultimatum: to commit or leave. As I sat there indecisive, my partner at the time turned to me and said something so profound that it's never left my mind. She said, "You've got to decide whether you're here because you're excited about our future, or you're here because of a past that no longer exists." When she said this, I knew that it was time to leave, because clearly it was the past I was hanging on to, and it was the same again this year with my video production. Therefore, as we reach the end of 2025, I want to pose a question to anyone still watching. Are you hanging on to a past that no longer exists? Because one thing I can say confidently after this year is letting go will absolutely set you free. Thank you so much for watching. Happy New Year, everyone. I'll see you all in 2026.